Hello, I'm Wink Taylor playing Sylvester McCoy, although you may remember me better as the strange traveller in time and space known only as the Doctor. Welcome to my brand new TARDIS, where this week we're celebrating a very special anniversary. It's 60 years since Doctor Who first hit our screens, and to celebrate this anniversary, now it's time for the final part of a classic Doctor Who fan adventure from 2021, Endgame of the Doctor. This episode celebrates all of your ingenious creative minds, whether it be fan audio creators, fan doctors, artists, fan film creators, etc., etc.
I know you're listening, and I want you to know one thing. I will put an end to this.
It was supposed to be the last great time war. We've been fighting for ever so long, but then we lost our greatest warrior.
My silence has fallen.
It's time.
With 13 of them in the end, and only 13. No more after that.
I was supposed to evolve, become the best of me, while honouring what came before now.
I need you to find me.
Even time herself grieved her champion, but she was long gone.
My timeline has been undone.
You're out there still, watching.
You and your time will be back to normal in no time at all, or it'll be completely obliterated and all of reality will crumble, but no need to panic.
I don't think there's much chance of that.
I have the strangest feeling that this isn't over.
This is the first time in which the Daleks won the Time War. In my dimension, they acquired the moment, but couldn't use it. They won the war, conquered the entire universe, and destroyed Gallifrey. Wiped out the Time Lords. A clean victory. If it weren't for my resistance, that is, the Daleks targeted the lower populated areas of Earth. The universe was hopeless from start to flat, watching everything crumble away and everyone die around me. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone else. No more. That's what I say. There are barriers in place. Walls between dimensions to ensure when the Daleks won the Time War in my dimension. It didn't impact universes running parallel to mine or escape, as it were. If this Time War or any Time War like this were to escape, if the barriers between worlds were to weaken somehow, this conflict would spread like a pathogen. My universe's Daleks have fixated on conquering the multiverse before. They always fail. If the outcome of the war were to be altered in the wrong moment, the impact on reality would be colossal. The war would corrupt and mutate everything it touches. Even concept of reality would be underflit. Unwriting and rewriting every story known to man. Time itself would have no meaning. I sense that this distinct possibility there are 99.999999 and so forth universes out there. Anything could happen. I find myself questioning whether this could actually happen. A war beyond anything one could comprehend. No empire, no resistance. No beginning, no end. No natural order. Only chaos and disorder. No longer a war. Not even a battle. But a new norm. An ongoing bloodshed. A wonder.
Welcome back to the end of reality itself. Have you lost your grasp on it yet? Or are you still with us? How impressive. You appear to have maintained your attention despite time and reality glitching around you, rather frequently, I might add. Perhaps there is a chance of us surviving this, or perhaps you've doomed us all. But now, I fear you're going to be put to the test like never before. Frequent glitches taking you anywhere and anywhen within an unimaginable amount of narratives. Pure chaos! But do try to pay attention, for our future relies upon you, the witnesses.
God help us.
God won't answer, let alone help us. Difficulty with a meddling monk. At least that's what I've heard.
The Warden of Time. You finally decided to grace me with your presence.
Your sarcasm is noted.
And just what are you doing here? This isn't your story to tell. Your involvement might actually make the situation worse, Warden.
I'm here to help, Arkytekt. As the Warden of Time, it is my duty to prevent the destruction of the natural order.
You're a bit late, you fool. The natural order has collapsed, and for someone who is supposed to be preventing that...
I was busy.
Busy? Busy? What was so important that it kept you away from a reality-ending event such as this?
A reality-ending event?
Well, at the very least, we're not in short supply of those now, are we?
There was a danger lurking within the darkest depths of the multiverse. A threat that nobody escaped from due to this one. And yet, here we are.
So, what now?
I suppose this threat cancelled out that one. And yet, once this threat has been rectified, the threat that I was facing with a team I was putting together will be restored.
That really isn't important for the moment. Let's focus on this one.
Matter, space, time. Time is already meaningless. How long do you think it will take for matter and space to follow in their footsteps?
Well, if you would allow me to continue doing my newfound job and guide the witnesses towards where they need to be, we might have a chance of stopping that from happening.
And what is your end game here, Arkytekt? I've been observing you and I'd like to know.
The observer being observed. I can't say I like the feeling. My endgame is the same as everyone else's. Survival.
Survival? You're doing a pretty poor job of it. We don't have much longer until this godforsaken war will impact us.
Don't you think I know that? I'm well aware of what's at stake.
Then why aren't we out there?
Going out into the multiverse and forming a ragtag team may potentially work against prior threats. But it won't work this time. This narrative is delicate. It isn't down to us.
I'm here to help, and while that method might not be useful in this situation, I still have one thing that we both need to survive.
Power.
Precisely. We can use the powers that we both have to maintain one another.
Before I agree to this alliance, what is your endgame? What do you get out of this?
I'm a Warden of Time with no time. We both have stories to tell, and threats to face. The sooner this is over, the sooner we can return to the threats at large in our own narratives.
Well then, shall we? And as for you, witnesses, don't you know it's rude to listen in?
Gallifrey's final day was nothing if not swift. I dare say even efficient.
Even with plenty of experience facing Daleks, this was unlike anything I'd seen before. It started with a distress call. Nothing out of the ordinary when travelling with the Doctor.
It's fair to say I'm no longer inviting the Famasi for dinner.
Really good manners, but the consistent talk of war crimes... completely off-putting.
Thankfully we never have to think about them again.
Speak for yourself. I'll never be able to get such horrific descriptions out of my head.
So many references to brain soup, and they even gave me a recipe.
Not to mention they brought their own starters. Ugh.
I will never look at casserole the same way again.
I'll never look at food the same way again.
Well, unfortunately, I think we're in agreement there.
I think we need time away. I don't think I can think of anything else in here.
Perhaps you're right. But even so, we move forward. And with that, I've set the coordinates.
Where are we going?
Well, I've always wanted to visit Blackpool. Or was I thinking of the Ivor Iron? Or Florana? Could be Florana. Possibly Carpathia.
Something doesn't feel right.
I know the feeling. I have a distinct feeling that I was putting down to cosmic angst. I should probably stop doing that.
What's that beeping sound?
Beeping sound? Oh, a distress call. More than one by the looks of it.
Definitely more than one. It's hundreds.
Thousands. Millions? Billions? Trillions? But that's impossible.
And that is when everything began to go wrong. The Doctor began to materialise in and out of existence, and it wasn't long before I followed. It wasn't long before he was out cold and I was left to try and fly the TARDIS. But it already had a destination in mind.
The final day.
This is a message for all remaining high-ranking Time Lords. Mayday! Mayday! Gallifrey has fallen. I repeat, Gallifrey has fallen. Flee! Flee as far away from the planet as you can and ensure the survival of our species. The planet is beginning to rupture. The untempered schism has completely shattered. The Matrix has torn itself apart. But its final warning was one of pure, unfiltered chaos. It couldn't keep up with the sheer amount of contradictions, and it was indescribable. It predicts that every second of Gallifrey will be impacted by the war, our entire history rewritten and unwritten. Not a single line consistent with one another, and yet, without structure, no new timeline would unwrite the other. Natural order is no more. The Daleks have won. But that doesn't mean the war is over. It's far from being all over. Other species will combat the Daleks, and in doing so, will continue the war for all survivors. It is your job to guide them and rebuild Gallifrey on other planets. All battle TARDISes should be fitted with flat-back citadels. I wish you luck. You are Gallifrey's only hope. Run!
Maximum extermination!
I can't bear this. Can't do what is being asked of me. Can't look at hundreds of reflections of myself, my worst instincts and habits, staring back at me in different garish costumes. Will I find versions of myself that I like? Or will I always be destined to condemn my other selves from every universe and timeline, especially mine? I've been fighting in this war for so long, trying to be different, even now. Trying to live as the Doctor by my definition, my rules. This is probably the only chance I have at breaking the mold. Let's face it, what better time than when the natural order isn't beckoning out to me, dragging me back into my role. But no, even now I find myself being restrained and forced to be the Doctor. Not by my definition, but this time by the definition of an Eternal, one who calls himself the Arkytekt. Asking me to make sure my other selves are on track. That's my narrative purpose as they deemed it. That's what they call it, when they use us like pawns. When they manipulate our lives like we're action figures. I want to tell them to go away, to spack off. I want to stand in defiance. I want to go back out there and face this war, and perhaps, just perhaps, within the deadliest conflict known to man, I can find peace. But no, not here, not now. For I am the Doctor. Peace is out of the question.
Sontarans perverting the course of history. You can't change history. Not one line. You poor, pathetic creatures. Don't you realise? Before you attempt to conquer the Earth, you will have to destroy all living matter.
Doctor?
Sorry, Julia? Were you always blonde?
Yes? Why?
No, you weren't. My ship. My TARDIS.
Doctor?
No. Something's happened to time. You weren't green a moment ago. We're not protected. Even in here, we're not protected.
Doctor! Doctor!
What are you doing here? Leave. We have to leave. We have to go.
Doctor, what's...
Out now, before it's too late.
Slipping and sliding across the console room floor like Jean Kelly, the Dickensian Doctor made their way around the TARDIS in rather comedic fashion, with her tripping over various parts of the console itself and being unable to stand upright nor still during that dance. This dance around the console is an indication that an adventure is nigh. One that would hopefully carry the same energy, they thought, as she kept pulling lever after lever, plotting the coordinates and accidentally jettisoning the swimming pool. Again. She leaps forwards towards the corner of the room and leaps back towards the console, accidentally slipping and landing flat on the floor. There was something about this day, they thought. Something so thrilling and joyous. The engines of her magnificent ship hummed as the ship began hurtling towards its destination. A destination unknown to the Doctor. "What will this day bring?" she said, with a gleeful smile. "Perhaps it'll bring ice cream. I love ice cream." But it wasn't long before she'd have to endure the same fate as her other selves, landing slap bang within the Time War. It wasn't long before her ship landed, and she opened the door with the same gleeful smile as she had in the console room. "Oh no, you've really gone and done it now, old girl," she uttered, whilst looking towards an army of Daleks in the distance. "What are they doing here? Why are they always in the way?" she questioned with a frown. "Well, only one way to find out," she said, while slipping towards them. She had the same energy as Miranda Hart on crack, as she swaggered towards the army of Daleks now standing before her. "All right, fellas, how goes your day?" she asked with a smile, ignoring the surrounding conflict completely, and focusing solely on the Daleks.
The Doctor has been located! Exterminate immediately!
Shouted every single Dalek, and before she even had the time to react, nothing remained.
That sound.
Laser fire. They're getting closer.
Well, I dare say you know more about who they are than I do.
What do you mean?
The changes. They're happening to us both, but I'm retaining my memory throughout. But you're being caught in it much more than I am, Julia.
It's Julia. I'm Sticker.
Oh, well, you may well be, but a moment ago you weren't.
You're not making sense, Doctor.
No, I'm making perfect sense, but the universe isn't. Reality is glitching, seemingly around us.
Say that's true, but what do we do about it?
Julia, this is beyond us. This is beyond one me. Perhaps beyond even two me's. Even that is the understatement of the century. What city is this?
We're in Arcadia. We're in the final battle of Arcadia against the Cybermen. Against the faction. Against the Crinoid. Against the Crotons. against the Borg.
We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Your culture will adapt to serve us. Resistance is futile.
Against Count Dracula and their horde of vampiric nightmares. Against the Time Worm, against the Lords of Jelson, against the Lowbrief, against the enemy.
Redacted.
Against the Vardans. Against the Daleks.
I was never here, Julia. Neither of us were here. Once upon a time, on my darkest day, I was here, but not this me. Not currently, and you definitely weren't here. But while you are here, while we're in this version of history with the Daleks, it may not be too late. Come on!
But where are you going?
To find him. Me. The one who fought in the Time War. If there's a moment where history's been changed, he's the only one who can...
Doctor!
Julia, try to get around, and don't die. I'll be with you later. If there is a later. You! Hey! You!
There is no feat where I will not match you. There is no prize I will not contest you for. There is no victory I will not deny you. There is no field I will not best you upon. End this war, or see your entire mutant race meet the fate you would so readily bestow on others. End this, or be exterminated.
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 Exterminated. Exterminated.
Exterminated.
Exterminated.
Exterminated.
Exterminated.
Exterminated.
Exterminated.
Exterminated.
Exterminated.
We're gonna get out of this, I swear. Rule one, we both know it. We both know that we won't. Why did I get stuck on the front lines with myself? Could be worse. Imagine fighting alongside the terrible Zodin. I did! That was before you blundered in. Fair point. It's not my fault they tripped on that brick. Do you think we'll come back? After we die? I think reality is 50-50 on the whole resurrection thing. I don't like those odds. What are you playing? Huh? On your mixtape? Oh, what, Time, Pink Floyd. Ironic. Don't I know it? Daleks, up ahead. Open fire. Usually not my style. We have no choice. Not this time. Now, open fire.
Dalek Death Squad Formation 1963 are in position. Exterminate them at once. I obey. Exterminate! 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 Daleks contact and destroy! Maximum extermination! Exterminate! Exterminate! The masters of time! Daleks contact and destroy! known as a Dalek victory. You will surrender to the might of the Dalek race or be exterminated. Bow down to your new god. Any attempt to prevent Dalek occupation will be met with force. Your saviors have been exterminated. The Doctor is no more. Your shields have been annihilated and your armies exterminated. The fighting between Daleks and Time Lords will cease. All hail the Daleks. The Daleks are the masters of time. The universe is ours to purge. Refugees and the dispossessed will be annihilated. Daleks are the supreme beings. All hail the Daleks. All hail the Daleks. Gallifrey has fallen. The Daleks are the masters of time. 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 This is only the beginning. We will prepare. We will grow stronger. We will now take our rightful place as the supreme power of the multiverse.
Can't comprehend the scale of it all. Eternal blackness. No more sunsets. No more gumbo jacks. Never more a butterfly.
Ending in an explosion and simultaneously a whimper, and a great ball of fire, the end of the universe, awaits us all in the end. But what if I were to tell you that there is an ongoing war beyond that point? A never-ending war with no end in sight. It was supposed to be the last great time. We've been fighting for ever so long, but then we lost our greatest warrior. With 13 of them in the end, and only 13. No more after that.
I can see it all now. Ever since I was taken by the Daleks and the vampires of old, experimented upon, used as their gateway. Or is that what really happened? Every narrative strand has been leading up to this point, the point that created me, and not only that, but the point in which I reside. No matter. No time, no space, only I. Have you been paying attention? I know so many patronising higher beings have asked you the same, but even they don't understand the extent of the situation. Blind and arrogant fools. They can't even see me. They don't even know you're here. For in their eyes, you can't be. I'm not Julia Breslin, and I wasn't Megan Williams. Perhaps I was, once upon a time. But now, time is meaningless, and I can be whomever the narrative dictates me to be. That's dependent on whether you've been paying attention. This narrative is designed to revolve around that. So, pay attention, for I am nigh.
Aimlessly wandering had become characteristic for the Doctor over time. No matter which face he'd wear, he'd always find himself aimlessly wandering, and here he was doing it again. He could feel the shadow of the Valeyard breaking through alongside his hoard of anxieties that were held back by the ever-so-familiar beeping sound.
I don't have much time here, so why don't you just show yourself?
The Doctor states in a commanding tone, with an anticlimactic silence now engulfing the white void around him. The old junkyard in the distance with its doors wide open seemed to distance itself from the Doctor as he moves closer towards it, as if it were retreating away from him. All the Doctor could fixate on was the veiled silhouette that stood within the barnyard on Gallifrey. Who could have the knowledge to know about the time lock being weaker at that specific point during the war? A few renegade Time Lords came to mind. Is this a consequence of him saving Gallifrey, he thought to himself as he observed the limbo within his mind.
A little assistance would be helpful. I've got a universe to save, and quite frankly, I hate talking to myself.
And with that order, the white void began to grow brighter and brighter, almost blinding the Doctor, a little too soon chronologically, that is, if they managed to fix said chronology. The white void began to shatter once again, inverting and interchanging between different voids within the mind of the Doctor. Each horizon simultaneously began destabilizing and stabilizing within minutes of the Doctor falling through each one, his atoms dispersing and reforming as he began making his way through each realm. It was as he began fading in and out that the Doctor began to lose all hope, but in that moment of hopelessness, the ever-so-familiar beeping sound began calling out to him once again.
Would you mind turning that down a bit if you're who I think you are? I don't want us sharing a headache. The resulting catastrophe of two of the same Time Lords sharing the same headache could be worse than anything we've faced prior.
The Doctor shouts as the new horizon begins to materialize around him, a new and entirely stable land for him to walk upon.
Hello? Hello? Anybody there? Why, it's my old art gallery. I've always felt at home in art galleries. It was my home, for a time. Art galleries and museums, the most homely places in the universe. No wonder I found myself back here. No place like home. Ah, there you are. I'm so glad you're back. I was expecting you, naturally. I always do. It's been such a long time. Well, it seems like a long time. Time doesn't appear to have any sort of meaning anymore. An awful lot of awful things have happened whilst you decided to take time away. Time away, eh? Time we all took for granted. I'm getting a sense of déjà vu. Are you? Walk with me. We have much to catch up on. Besides, it has been a while since you stepped foot in my precious art gallery. It's been a while since I have as well. Such a shame. A lot of the paintings are fading away. Lives never lived. Stories never told. Visions never visioned. A crying shame that such masterpieces are no more. Shall we take a look, while we still can? No touching.
An impossible cliff edge now stands before him with silhouettes of mountains standing behind him. The sky consists of washed-out oranges and pale blues, with a singular rock placed beside the Doctor.
This is all spectacular, but not helpful whatsoever.
The Doctor begins walking towards the edge as a robed figure begins to manifest on the rock behind him.
Stop!
The Doctor stands in bemusement, turning around towards the robed figure with a slight smile on his face. The Doctor looks towards the hand of the robed figure. Within it is what appears to be a sonic screwdriver. The Doctor begins to understand who this blonde figure is, but before he can speak, he is cut off.
You can thank me later. For now, we have work to do.
Don't we always?
Welcome, welcome. Well then, why don't you make yourself at home?
What?
Oh, never mind, it's you. The one we've been waiting for.
Waiting for?
There you are. Well, I suppose there I am would be more appropriate. I see what people were saying about the eyebrows. I certainly miss them.
I have quite a few questions.
We thought you might.
Here we go again.
Who are you all? And what are you doing in my mind?
This is far more than just a dream or an illusion. They are usually far deadlier than this.
So what is this then? What are all of you?
Vestiges of your consciousness, not just of your timeline and or universe.
Lost within your psyche, attached to your very soul, your very essence.
But we're splinters from other universes and timelines, dying timelines calling out towards your consciousness, manifesting ourselves here within yours. It's a bit difficult to explain.
You ventured so far into your subconscious that you found us. We thought you might. Bravo, well done.
Absolutely amazing.
I've been here before, haven't I?
A sense of deja vu, some might say, eh?
Must say the scarf clashes with the robes in so many ways, but I can't help but love it.
This is a symbolic place in which we pass through during the renewal process.
With great difficulty, especially if you're a cosmic hobo.
Oh, no, it wasn't my fault I was put on trial.
Where were we? Talking about this symbolic place? The one...
Now littered with lost souls. Our lost souls.
Happens to the best of us, mate. Scratch that. Happens to all of us.
Bold choice not to wear robes.
This isn't audio. I'm recording this in my pyjamas. Deal with it.
Besides, were you not the one who thought sonic sunglasses were fashionable?
Oi! These sunglasses are both fashionable and cool, and hardly the point of discussion at the moment.
Sonic sunglasses? Wearable technology? That's an idea.
Yeah, you don't grow out of them.
Classic time traveler mistake. I should really know better.
So this is where we all end up? I always envisioned a garden or some sort of fancy citadel. A pretentious Gallifreyan afterlife.
Some of your earlier selves manifested themselves here and thought it would be... well, they thought it to be rather poetic for this domain to be a cliff edge after all.
That's how it all started.
None of this explains why and how I'm here. Care to explain?
Down to business, I suppose. It's all rather simple, really.
You say that, it can get a bit timey-wimey here and there.
It usually does when it comes to us. Now, listen up, bud.
I'm listening. Hurry up before I get bored and decide to pass through this magical threshold.
We're here to help. Happy to do so, I might add. As you are well aware, the end of reality is nigh. Nothing to worry about though, because that is where you come in.
Beginning with how you are here. Well, that's all rather simple, isn't it? The barriers between life and death have been shattered. You, unintentionally, crossed the threshold and we summoned you here. After you foolishly tried to enter your own mind to search for answers.
It seemed like the only way. I'm running low on schemes and plans to find them these days.
I do have to wonder what Martin would make of all this. Not much, considering they're a pug.
You're in luck, because we just can't allow what's happening out there to continue.
The last war I fought in was against myself. I would much rather be in that one compared to this one, but I'll take what I can get to get some time away from that imbecile.
Ignore that one. He's been ranting for what seems like eternity. Well, I suppose it was eternity. And is eternity. Does eternity even exist anymore? Anyways.
You're here.
because you need help, and we're here to give it to you.
Advice and assistance obtainable immediately.
Oh, by all means, take your time. We have all the time in the world. Not like the concept of time is of the essence anymore.
There's no point in being so rude about it.
Was I always so impatient?
Will I be so impatient?
I wouldn't be so impatient. It never was one of our best qualities.
Patience is a virtue we are currently lacking, if you haven't noticed.
They are right, you know. Just have to summon the right manifestation with the right information, and trust me, that is rather difficult.
Trust us, there are trillions upon trillions of manifestations lurking within this realm.
All happy to help. It's just a matter of which ones can genuinely give you the assistance that you seek.
Trillions? How many regenerations did the Time Lords grant me?
We never did find out the answer for that, did we?
I suppose it's for the best that we don't know. Besides, I don't know how many of you are from my timeline or universe, as one of you put it.
It's best you don't think about it too much, dearie. Infinite possibilities can drive one mad sometimes. You know how it goes.
How long is this gonna take? Prime computers are faster than this. And they helped me propose, which I might add, not an easy task.
It's terribly interactive.
Prime computers? Ah, now there's a flashback. Reminds me of the superannuation services, or is that still to come? And not to forget Zanussi as well. Never did find it.
Best we don't mention that. I think Splink was one of our finer moments.
Yes, if only Danny Pink had remembered the Green Cross Code.
I'm bored of this. Give me a Blobotron any day.
I believe we've found the right manifestation to guide you on your quest. Wishing you the best of luck. For all our sakes.
May I speak with them?
Oh? Yeah, right, yeah. Go on, sorry.
Do I have time for a well-prepared meal before we get on with this?
So, all-knowing vestiges, give me the advice I seek.
So, let's start with the obvious, shall we? The war.
We're optimistic that you can end it.
As you know, our final gambit to save Gallifrey no longer worked.
Something, or someone, has messed with time, and this wasn't supposed to happen.
Well, lad, there's complicated mess unfolding. Wars colliding, reality crumbling, and so forth. Pretty much all-out war. Don't you just hate it when that happens?
Let's just say we're kind of hoping you can do this thing right. Someone might have glued the Daleks into the original plan. Or we'd have no Endgame saga, naturally.
So wait, does anyone actually know who messed about with time?
At least one of you is asking the right questions.
I'm not sure who, but I know you can find out. For all our sakes.
I don't think any of us are entirely sure of anything at the moment. But none of us know that.
Not even I know that. But the little red one does know something. Very little, but something. That was not a height jump, I swear.
You should have a message from a future Megan that I asked her to send if I don't make it.
I take it this Megan is a future friend of mine. This isn't very helpful. How do I find her?
It's complicated.
It isn't Megan you're looking for. It's what they have become.
Well, kind of.
Look, she was taken, and now very little of what remains of Megan is factually Megan.
Are we usually this enigmatic? What happened to this Megan?
Daleks and vampires experimented on her from what I know, in an attempt to escape an oncoming catastrophe. One we can't tell you about. You are going to have to investigate.
Not very helpful.
We tell you what we do with caution. Everything needs to be discovered in the right order and in the right ways for natural order to be restored.
It wouldn't be right to tell you everything. That'd just make it too easy for you.
I was exterminated. I remember laying within Megan's arms as she was taken away, but I don't remember much more than that. My side of the timeline was still being unwritten and rewritten when I succumbed to the power of the collapsing natural order.
This is getting rather difficult to follow. The way of working it out would be... starting with what you know and work backwards. Or in this case, work backwards, forwards, sideways, all at the same time. Oh, come on, Doctor.
So let's get this straight. I'm looking for a being who was Megan, but now isn't Megan, but an experiment. Is that it?
Now that you mention it, all a bit confusing.
Understatement of the century. Will someone please explain this in a way that exclusively this face, you see, this face with the attack eyebrows and the youthful vigour would understand?
Youthful? Really?
Oi, watch it. I could wipe you all out with a thought, given time.
All I know is, don't look exclusively for Megan. Look for the message and search for your other self. I'm going to take 2 of you to fix this mess.
I intercepted that message myself, actually, but that is for you to find out.
Wait, backtrack. What do you mean, 2 of me?
You'll find out soon enough. Now you must go. Lots of work to be done.
The plot demands you elsewhere. The last thing the viewer wants to be doing is listening to us talking. The writer will take you back to your TARDIS. Good luck!
Writer?
He does that.
The 12th Doctor wakes up within his monolithic TARDIS console room with a dazed and confused look on his face. The TARDIS is in flight. Well, that was unhelpful. And cryptic. And half of it was gibberish. Is this what it's like to be you? It's time I listened to that message they mentioned, though even though they believe it to be unhelpful, so I don't see the point.
I don't know who I am anymore. Well, no, that's not strictly accurate, is it? I know I'm the Doctor. I know that, despite all the uncertainty in the universe right now, I will stand for the same things I've always stood for. And I feel, deep in my bones, that there's enough commonality between this me, this new me, and the me I used to be the last time I had this face, that I can make what you might call an approximate guess at who I am. Unless I was about to throw myself a curveball, like enjoying pears, or hating kissing, or thinking that hair gel was a bad idea. But no. Probably no curveballs. At least, no curveballs now. No, nothing now. I'm sat in my TARDIS, staring at my old hand, waiting for a call that never comes. You could very well say that, rather than being 6 characters in search of an author, although I am considerably more than 6 characters, if you think about it from a certain point of view, I am instead simply one Doctor in search of a story.
Day 4863. Or is it day 13? One or the other, doesn't matter. Time war. Lose track of things like that. Lose track of a lot of things. Lose track of yourself. The self you're supposed to be. The self you are. The self you were. The self you could have been. You know this was supposed to be a log. Logs aren't great at all, but I feel like it's a bit pointless. No one's left to hear it, and in a minute, I might never have even recorded it. Even the voices that command me to keep doing this have ditched me. They've all ditched me. I don't even know what they were. A telepathic distress call? Maybe they were helping me. They were so useful. Is Megan even real? I suppose they've been unwritten. Either that or were rewritten. I Consistency's a fine thing. Fighting a battle you don't even know if you'll ever have fought. How's that supposed to work? The answer, of course, being that it doesn't. That's the point. That's why this war won't end. How can something end when it never started? Everything that has a beginning has an end. But if it doesn't have a beginning, it follows it doesn't have an end. Trouble with logicisms. The logic out-logics itself. Where's Mr. Spock when you need him? I think I got called Mr. Spock once. Or someone wanted me to be Spock. Who is Spock, anyway? What does it matter?
Time Lord located. All nearby Daleks in Earth Sector 7894. Seek, locate, maximum exterminate.
Oh, and I was having such a pleasant day.
They do say that talking to yourself is the first sign of insanity. I wonder what that makes arguing with your other selves. Message wasn't helpful, but at least I know more about this Megan now. An omniscient force who appears to be calling out for help. Or luring me into a trap, perhaps. The purple one has handed me some coordinates. Earth. Something doesn't feel right. Lots of work to be done, lots of lives to save, and universes to rescue. And here I am, in my TARDIS, alone. Shut up, Doctor. Don't get sidetracked. Think. What were my other selves saying? Cryptic to no end. But they mentioned another me from this timeline, from this universe, possibly fighting in this war. I have to narrow it down. Summation. Most of my previous selves are dead. Now that leaves God knows how many of me after this one. Not that I have any intention of dying anytime soon. Question. Where to search? Where do I visit the most? Conclusion. Earth. Obvious, but I may as well throw in Gallifrey. I'd go there straight away if I were another stupider version of me. Now, I have to factor in these fractures in reality. In theory, the most glitches would be occurring around the one I need to find. The one this narrative is driving me towards. That's how a narrative works. No narrative is without its rules, no matter the chaos. There has to be a drive, a narrative drive, pushing me towards one destination. Gallifrey. Or Earth. Conjecture. Disregard the scans and the glitches and the fractures. If the narrative is pushing me towards one destination, two of which come to mind being Gallifrey or Earth, then none of the science nor the aforementioned logic matters. So I'll use chance to my advantage. If the narrative is pushing me forwards, then tossing a coin means that it will land on the side that the narrative dictates it to. Heads for Gallifrey, tails for Earth. The Doctor tosses a coin into the air. It freezes. Oh, come on! I was on a roll! Or was I? I suppose this gives me time to think, but what's caused this?
I'm here to unwillingly collect you. Like Pokemon. Only less fun.
Well, I'm a big fan of Pokemon. Who's your favourite?
Sudowoodo. No. Bruxish. No, Stunfisk.
Whoa, I'm gonna stop you there, right? Sudowoodo, really?
Look, I've got no time for this. And as you're about to find out, neither do you.
Wait a minute, I recognise your voice. I recognise you. Was it you who told me something? Figuring out how to be the Doctor by my own definition has taught me one thing. It's not just others that give us the strength to go on.
Must feel like ages ago for you. I think that was this morning for me. From a certain point of view.
Well, it's been one hell of a day for you then, hasn't it?
From a certain point of view, yes.
So why are you checking in on me? Who sent you? Was it Nancy?
Nancy?
I've been looking for her. I was travelling with her for a while. The war separated us. Long time ago now. At least from a certain point of view. I've been fighting ever since to get her back.
Nancy didn't send me. An Eternal who calls himself the Arkytekt did.
Not to pry, but have you got anyone? The moment I mentioned my companion, I saw that distant look. One I know all too well.
Once. Maybe. I chose to be alone. I don't want to be you, nor live like you. And so I won't corrupt anyone who steps into my ship. Like you do.
Ooh, unjustified. And unhealthy.
Look, let's get back to the matter at hand here. All I ask is that you read the instructions being sent to you.
Oh yeah, interesting reading. Bit boring around the middle.
So you've read it then?
Yes.
So why aren't you following the instructions?
I didn't trust them.
Well, I'm here to tell you to trust them. So do so.
And you can't tell me any more than that?
I can't say any more about what I'm doing here, or why. The cosmic NDA, as it were. It's preventing me from divulging more. If I could, I would.
I'll see what I can do about being there on time, but I'm going to do my own thing first.
You know what? Fine. I've learnt not to argue with my other selves, so be it. If you're late, that's on you.
Oh, I certainly hope so. Fashionably, I hope. Oh, and Doctor?
Yes?
Go and find someone, will you?
Spack off.
Knocking. Very polite. Hello? Is there somebody out there? Oh, the amount of people wanting to meet me. I really am flattered, but you'll have to wait for Comic-Con.
It's nothing, just an old friend. Or a new one, technically.
Can't say I know that voice.
You don't know the voice, but you know me. You carried me once across the desert.
You? The big bad wolf? Gone for walkies, have you?
Little pig, let me in. I could just come in, but that would be very rude.
Not by the hairs on my chinny chin chin.
Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in.
I don't use weapons.
I'm not here as a weapon. I'm here to help.
Why would you want to help me?
I thought we formed something of a bond. A friendship, if you will.
I'm flattered. That's the problem with sentient weapons. They get clingy.
And that's the problem with old soldiers. They get grouchy.
I'm not a soldier.
Then what are you?
On a good day, I'm the Doctor.
This isn't a good day, so take arms and let me in.
If you insist, but just try not to detonate in here. I've been cleaning up.
Doesn't look like it.
Why choose that face?
Why choose that face?
Touché. Am I supposed to know who you are?
No. Can I sit in the chair? I feel like sitting would be appropriate.
Oh, please, make yourself at home.
I might do it that. I'd almost fancy reading a book. Feels appropriate, but we don't have time.
Quite. So what brings you to my humble abode?
Humble, this is as dramatic and in your face as it gets.
Rather homely though, don't you think?
I'm Mr. Roundles.
I like to call them brown things.
Of course you would. That's what brings me here, an old friend of yours.
And who might that be?
Want to find out?
Not preferably, but if you insist, I'll put in the coordinates.
We're already on our way.
How did you do that? I didn't even hear the engines.
I'll explain later.
Now, what do we have here? Oh, the Mona Lisa. That one's a fake. Starry Night. Oh, Van Gogh was such a lovely individual. Yet so very troubled. And what a mind. Mind you, it's not very starry anymore. American Gothic, the positions of memory, and Gallifrey Falls. Gallifrey Falls! The painting that once inspired. One that would spread hope to a rather remarkable individual when they needed it the most. I remember being rather irresistible in those days. Despite the chin and the bow ties are cool. What do you think of it? No, not the bow ties, the painting. I thought so too. Nothing but despair. A footnote in a larger, hopeless narrative that was once depicting the beginning of an infinitely more hopeful endeavor. But that inspiration is no more. No more.
Dalek invasion of Mars in progress. Dalek invasion of Mars complete. Dalek invasion of Peladon in progress. Dalek invasion of Peladon complete. Dalek invasion of Carpathia in progress. Dalek invasion of Carpathia complete. Dalek invasion of Sontar in progress. Dalek invasion of Sontar complete. Dalek invasion of Lucifer in progress. Dalek invasion of Lucifer complete. Dalek invasion of Heaven in progress. Dalek invasion of Heaven complete.
So, where are we?
That's all rather complicated. Only one way to find out.
Hold on, give me a... never mind.
No matter how many times you tell that joke, it's never funny.
It's hilarious. Who knew that a sentient weapon would lack a sense of humour?
Are you following or what?
Don't rush me.
Now enter here, and I'll go back to the ship.
No touching anything, and don't look at my internet history. I'd rather not be left waiting. Got a universe to save.
Impatient much?
You must be the... so much purple.
Don't you like it? And there is me thinking you're one of the ones with taste. There's a certain one of you out there who'd be very offended right now.
Unbelievably garish, with a bit in your face, even for me.
Then again, Sonic sunglasses, maybe not one of the ones with taste.
Sonic sunglasses, you're the second person to bring that up.
I know. I am the Arkytekt.
I know. I am the Doctor.
You're probably wondering why the moment has brought you here.
I was wondering about that. Are you here to threaten me? Eternals and bureaucrats just love to threaten me.
I'm not here to threaten you.
Then what do you want?
Now that I know more about this situation, it's fair to say that I've been meaning to give you a bit of a nudge. I've only just gotten around to you.
Nudge away.
I've uploaded all of my findings onto what your people deemed the moment.
So they know everything that you know. And what do you know, exactly?
I've interviewed a few important people, pushed other versions of yourself onto the right paths, and done my best to ensure the witnesses hear what they need to hear.
Who are these witnesses?
All will be revealed in good time.
May as well just say I'll explain later. I know you want to.
You'll need me. You'll be going from hellmouth to hellmouth otherwise, aimlessly.
Aimlessly describes everything I do, and I do aimlessly brilliantly. Give me 2 minutes, and I'll sort it all out.
2 minutes, 2 centuries. It all ticks by so quickly. You are so very like your other selves. Did you know that? I have the distinct sense of déjà vu. The same defiance, the same faithless hope in their light.
You've been watching me all this time and you think it's faithless?
It's very hard to have faith when the universe has gone to a very particular kind of hell.
Oh, well, stick around, Arkytekt. If you like watching, well, I'll have such sights to show you.
Well, alright then, Hell Priest. I can't tell you much or give you much other than the moment. But what I can say is that I believe you are making all the right calls. But if I may make one suggestion.
Suggest all you want, pal.
Whatever this coin lands on, do the opposite. Act like the 100% rebel from Gallifrey that you are. Defy destiny. That is, after all, what you're best at.
Ha! Now you're talking.
I'll return you back to your TARDIS.
That's all then.
No, I've been more than helpful.
Maybe so, but being more helpful than anyone else I've met during this isn't exactly a challenge.
The moment is waiting for you. You know as much as I how sentient weapons can be so impatient. Goodbye, Doctor. I'll see you soon. The end is nigh.
Ha ha ha!
There was a story, probably. A reason this face came back. Monsters to fight, villains to face, friends to meet, the usual fare. Maybe there was a mystery, maybe there would be answers. But no. All I'm getting instead are different questions. Someone else's questions. Someone else's story. My old story. I already knew how it ended. How it was supposed to end. Save the day and go home the long way round. Then lose it all again to a friend turned foe again. Cyclical. Like losing home, I suppose. And, like Daleks. Always Daleks. Couldn't possibly have a lifetime without them, could I? Such is as it should be, I suppose. Them and I. An eternal dance throughout history. Even the last day of the Time War was another runaround between us. Except, it all went wrong, didn't it? And now the story's wrong. It's changed, been turned into something different. I was never meant to be a Gallifrey, not this time. Not with this face, wearing these clothes. But now, I wait. The past's future is waiting for me. A past that has changed. A future that has yet to be written. I wonder where it's going. And where it was supposed to go.
Right then. Should him freeze any second now. You ready, Moment?
Are you sure the Arkytekt is right? I've run all the calculations.
I'm not sure even he knows whether he is right. But I do know one thing. One thing that sums me up. A way of life that sums up every one of me out there.
And that is?
Defying destiny with style. And Gallifrey it is. Knew I shouldn't have followed those coordinates just yet. Could have been a narrative disaster. The 12th Doctor pulls a lever with a triumphant smile, ready to make their way home and ready to take on whatever Gallifrey has to throw at them. The Moment takes a seat on the stairs, watching. This is the journey of our lives, old girl. Venturing into the darkest depths we've ever ventured into. Oh, no! That was just inappropriate. Hopefully we're not on TV at the moment. Think of the young'uns!
Please stop flirting in front of me.
Right, sorry about that. I forgot you can translate what she's saying.
Yeah.
The Doctor rushes around the console unit, pressing every button they can, placing their hands in the telepathic circuits and focusing on Gallifrey. Doctor in the TARDIS!
Did you seriously just say that out loud?
Forget that ever happened. Rather talkative now, aren't we? Right then, home, no place like it. Must think. The sound of screeching Daleks can be heard outside the doors of the TARDIS. They've located the ship, floating in the middle of nowhere. Do you mind? I'm trying to concentrate, and I can't hear myself think over all your fascistic anger. So, if you don't mind, shut up!
They're persistent, aren't they?
Got it! We're on our way. Never doubted us for a second. Oh, aren't you just the most magnificent chap? We make quite the team. Hey, please, keep it PG.
Oh yeah, forget I'm here, why don't you?
Force of habit, me and her flying through the universe, solving mysteries and fighting monsters. It's kind of our thing.
Are you sure we should be going here?
No, but I'm not sure of anything at the moment. This isn't how I anticipated finding home would end up. But here we are. Dr. Disco, and the legendary time machine, not to forget a weapon of mass destruction by our side, finally making it home. The long way round.
Who are you?
Oh, it's you. We've met before, haven't we?
Oh, it's you. I thought you were one of those Linda lot for a second.
I've never been more insulted in all my lives.
You stumbled into my universe. Got in the way a bit.
Got in the way? Got in the way? Dalek invasion of Comic-Con, right?
Yes, it was. For the record, I was not dressed as Howard the Duck.
But if I remember right, you almost detonated their bomb on stage. Talk about an explosive ending.
Those bombs can be awfully complicated to defuse. Besides, you're distracting me with your buffoonery.
2 more rounds and we would have been soup. Buffoonery?
If you weren't so distracted by Brian the Ood, perhaps I would have had help.
That was an unavoidable altercation.
Unavoidable? Unavoidable? You were being a wrong'un, a villain, a murderer.
Murderer is a bit fun. It's not my fault he tripped on that brick.
Oh, biscuits. I've had enough of this.
I've had enough of this.
No, I've had enough of this.
This is why we don't get nice things. This is why I don't like any of my other selves.
This has been the most unpleasant conversation. Good day.
Before you go, just remember to read the instructions and play your part. Don't ask any more questions, please. But yeah, follow the instructions, if you can understand basic instructions, that is.
The cheek! Even the terrible Zodin wasn't so abruptly rude.
Good day.
Personally, I hope you have an awful day.
After speaking to you, I already am.
I beg your pardon.
Even in ruins, still a beautiful sunrise. And naturally, both suns have been corrupted and are being harnessed for energy. No room for beauty in this universe anymore.
Nevermore a butterfly.
Was that one of mine? I was ever so right. The Gumblejacks are probably already extinct by now.
According to my databanks, they're abominations who are locked in an eternal conflict with the androgams.
The curse of knowledge, eh? I didn't know that. I didn't want to know that. How must you cope with all that knowledge?
I've looked inside your mind, seen all the optimism of yours. It's intoxicating.
And it's in short supply. So don't go taking it all for yourself.
You have a question.
So, what exactly are we looking for here?
I believe one of your other selves.
Oh no, not another one. Do you know the one we're looking for?
I've been picking up on their distress calls for some time. Begging and pleading. Unlike yourself, they've completely ran out of that precious optimism.
God help them.
God doesn't care.
Why would you say that?
I have all the knowledge one could possibly need in this war, in this reality, and looking around us. Isn't it evident?
I suppose it is. Why has my other self run out of optimism?
You're about to find out.
Who's there? Who's... Oh. You.
You?
They'll kill you, you know.
I imagine they'll try. But what are you doing here?
Is this the man you said would save us from the monsters?
Hush, child. Go join the others. Share around the soup. We have little left.
Children. You've got children with you.
Of course I do, poor Barnes. All those soldiers ran away. Left the porties here to die. I could never leave a child to cry alone. You know that.
I remember.
Why are you here?
I came back to end it.
Do it then. Before...
What the hell?
It's alright, I protected us. The glitch can't affect you or your ship in my company.
That woman, the children, where are they?
You don't want to know.
I do.
In this iteration, that.
Cybermen. On Gallifrey.
Time's run amok. Gone to hell. That's one of the kind of fates in this myriad of histories. Maybe those children are turned into soldiers, or transformed into loom mutants, or rewoven into monsters and deviants. This is a war, and it is a war where you never plumbed the depths of its insanity. That's why you wanted me to end it for you, remember?
Stop! Stop it!
I'm not telling you anything you didn't know already, Doctor. But that horror can be undone. That's why we're here.
I didn't use you. I know I didn't. I saved the day. I just know it.
I've always been there for you, whether you use me or not. And you have, but you also haven't. And that was down to me.
You don't make any sense.
Does anything? You've seen timelines in which you lie on the floor, falling through the impossible and landing in your ship, bones broken on your own, deciding last words are quote unquote useless.
I can remember it vividly, but that didn't happen. I wasn't him, wasn't that face, wasn't in that console room, and it wasn't the restoration, it was old age that led to my regeneration. Which is far less dramatic, I'll give you that.
Anything is possible, especially now. I've seen so many timelines, some in which you pressed my big red button, and one in which you didn't. I've always been there to advise, assist, and respond to all calls.
Is that why you're here now? Advice and assistance?
I'm here because you needed me more than ever. This reality needs me more than ever. I'm without purpose anywhere else. I need to find a new one, and helping you just might be it.
Sorry to interrupt, but we need to get a move on. I hear something making its way towards the barn.
Run!
Love, pride, hate, fear. Good, evil, life and death. This universe appears to have some sort of structure, some sort of narrative flow, eh? A structure that should never be tampered with. It should have been left alone. I left my home planet to answer a question. At least that was one of the many reasons I left that dull planet. Dull indeed. I was branded a renegade for thinking beyond the hypocrisy of my species. For daring to ask that question and many more. I could no longer return. After stealing a ship and running away. But now, I no longer have a home to go back to. I no longer have a home to be exiled from. But I still feel as if I'm in exile. I no longer belong here. I can no longer wander in the fourth dimension. Have you ever thought what it's like to belong nowhere? Have you? I'm cut off from this story, this universe, this reality. I'm always destined to be in exile. One day I might belong again. One day.
Running headfirst into an onslaught was a bright idea, was it?
I'm not running.
Please save us from the monsters.
What are the Toclafane doing here?
Mr. Master sent us to eradicate the Cybermen.
The Master?
Anywhere we go, there will be some sort of horror that awaits us. I calculated this one as our best chance of survival.
What is the Master doing here?
That's unimportant. What's important is our survival.
Sounding very much like a Cyberman with that one.
We're not to collide with the narrative under any circumstance.
And why not?
Because the moment we do is a moment that narrative overrides this one. One in which that old friend of yours has control over it.
Why are they here? That's all I want to know.
They were on the planet during the final day, don't you remember? Your standoff with Rassilon.
And let me guess, they attempted to take over as soon as the war continued.
It isn't important. Any further discussion is a risk.
Alright then, I'll shut up. Let's just get through this.
We're bored of these metal men. So boring. They hardly bleed like the other playthings.
I think they mean Time Lords.
You think?
And that would make me...
Target practice.
Run!
The painting was once mistaken to have two titles, Gallifrey Falls and No More. Both dreary titles. They were once one and the same title. Gallifrey Falls, No More. But you see, what was supposed to be has been rewritten, in a manner of speaking. I remember what once was. I remember that defining act of hope that set me on a journey unlike any other. The long way round, eh? But I suppose that journey is no more. And Gallifrey is, and always was, destined to fall. Just took a while to catch up with me, eh? Time and time again. That planet has fallen. It always finds a way to come back, which gives me hope. But there's something about this time. I fear the worst and yet hope for the best. Force of habit. The universe is crying. Oh, how very sad. I haven't been this sad since... Oh, never mind.
Do you think we evaded them?
All signs point towards a hopeful answer. But still be careful.
Humans can be awfully persistent. And very sadistic. Hopeful answers. They were looking for hopeful answers, so optimistic, and look at what happened to them. Look at where their optimism got them. I'd hardly call this utopia.
Stop that.
Stop what?
You're doing that thing. You do it again later in our crusade.
What thing?
You're either stuck in deep thought or about to do something unbelievably stupid. It's that expression.
A deep thought this time. Got nothing stupid up my sleeve, at least not yet.
I've seen inside that head of yours before. All that self-pity and the world weighing on your shoulders. I've been wondering for some time how harshly it's...
It's not that. The pressure is the one thing getting me through this, but it's all a lot to take in. Not the situation, just me.
You?
Not exactly. It's complicated.
I'm a sentient weapon of mass destruction with no purpose. We're both stuck within a time war beyond anyone's imagination. We are beyond the concept of complicated.
No kidding. It's just I've spent so long contemplating whether I'm a good man. I didn't know what I was supposed to be, not after Chinny.
What does that have to do with everything going on now?
If there are so many of me's, it's like brand dilution. If there's so much of me, how can any of it be true to what it was meant to be? How do I know if I found the right answer?
Are you a good man?
I'm an idiot.
Then that's all that matters.
But this universe, this multiverse needs a doctor.
And you're the doctor it needs.
But what does it mean to be the doctor? I've been trying so hard to live up to what that name stands for, the promises and burdens attached to it, and now I'm confronted with the fact that there is an unbelievable amount of me. Does my narrative matter?
Does your narrative matter? The narrative that every other is depending on. I should think so.
That's not my point, and you know it.
You're not the only one with trillions of other selves out within this vast multiverse, and that's only within one multiverse.
There's more than one.
Don't be so naive. You're not the only one that's been thrown into an existential crisis because of this. But we don't have time for it. It's less brand dilution and more amplifying what you stand for. Inspiring the mass across the multiverse, and there won't be one if we don't get a shift on.
But that begs the question, if there are so many of me, so many stories being told with so many different variants of me, how do I know if I'm staying true to what it means to be me? How do all of them know the same?
Dear God, you're an idiot. You know that.
Watch it.
You define your own story, just as much as they define their stories. And you're all trying your hardest to live up to the values that you set yourselves. The way your universe and theirs knows your story. What it means to be the Doctor is only defined by who you are now. In this moment, right here. Anyone can wear a ridiculous outfit and try to do the right thing, but only you can decide what you are going to do right now. So what is your next move?
Saving the day.
Good. Now do what you do best. Improvise.
I tried to save it. Tried to save my home. My, civilization. Perhaps it would have forgiven me. Or perhaps not. Now I'll never have the chance to earn it. I saw glimpses into my future. I look so young, and yet so ancient. Ooh, it was rather fascinating, seeing the Time Lord I'm supposed to grow up to be. Sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and forget just how young I am compared to them. I would say I'm wiser. Oh yes, no question about that. Some look older, some look younger, some look wearier, and I'm quite sure one was northern. Ooh, all ears, that one. Truth be told, I left my home to answer many questions, but one had been plaguing my mind since I was a boy, since I was reading tales of the outside universe and looking towards the stars. The very structure of this universe perplexed me, how each narrative plays out and so forth. You see, good requires loyalty, self-sacrifice, and love. For a while, I never quite understood why it should always prevail. As a concept, it's most definitely expected to fail. With the factors that go into it alone, Seemingly no logic. But I've reached a conclusion based upon recent findings. A climate so unfathomably evil and so incredibly bleak that it has shown to me that good doesn't always prevail. The days of balance are over. The darkest corners of this reality have taken over, and the universe is theirs to fight within. Temporal conflict. Evil has won. Perhaps it truly was always destined to.
Dalek invasion of Raxacolical Valapatorius in progress. Dalek invasion of Raxacolical Valapatorius complete. Dalek invasion of winter in progress. Dalek invasion of winter complete. Dalek invasion of Clom in progress. Dalek invasion of Clom complete. Dalek invasion.
When I said improvise, I suppose a campfire was a start, but what else do you have in mind?
Marshmallows. Can't have a campfire without marshmallows.
And where do you suppose we'll find marshmallows?
And the Doctor, don't overthink it. Want one?
For someone who's just having a crisis, that was the most certain of yourself you sounded in a while.
Trying to live up to what I was, what my story represents, it's what I do.
I find it difficult to live up to what I am. I know that doesn't help, but perhaps you and I aren't so different.
Maybe. Be honest. Do you think we'll find my other self?
I think they'll find us.
We can hope.
I'm not sure you will like what you see.
That doesn't surprise me. Shall we get some sleep?
I don't need sleep.
That doesn't surprise me either.
As if my very existence wasn't already in a state of flux, you have to show up and make things all the more complicated.
Me? Me? I have nothing to do with the complicated nature of this. Blame the Arkytekt, or just blame anyone else other than I.
Well, you're certainly one of the more garish of us. Not from my timeline, I take it.
Not sure. The war has everything scrambled. I could be from an adjacent universe, or belong to a universe beyond your comprehension. Did you say garish? Garish! I try my best to be anything but, despite my dress sense. I take it that's what you're commenting on, which I might add is also beyond your comprehension.
Beyond my comprehension? I'll show you beyond my comprehension.
I've had enough of this. Just tell me where you're heading and I'll point you in the right direction.
I got the message, ended up in my spam folder. I was taking a slight detour to Earth.
Why Earth?
You haven't heard? Looks like somebody else hasn't checked their spam folder.
How about I'll follow your ship and you can show me for yourself?
If you must.
What a strange dream.
You dreamt you were having a nice day out in Cardiff, looking out towards the bay before having a well-prepared meal.
How invasive of you.
Dreams and memories, far beyond your perception. Our reality and the reality that belongs to the witnesses are slowly colliding. Our happy ending depends upon them, so we have to continue and fast.
So this other self of mine will most likely find us, right? This narrative demands it, right?
According to calculations, yes.
And you believe our best interest is to keep going forward?
Yes.
Now let's do it. Hang on a minute.
Impossible.
We're heading towards the capital, aren't we?
Yes.
A Dalek!
Surprised?
I thought they'd all left. Stolen all the technology they could and continued the war elsewhere.
Time glitches in your sleep, be careful. Reality is in flux. Some Daleks now roam the dry lands this way.
I know the way. Arcadia. That's where we're headed, isn't it?
Now, how would you know that?
I walked this road 1,000,000 times in my youth. I know the road to the second city. And even if I didn't know, wouldn't it make sense? The story of the last day began with the fall of Arcadia. Why wouldn't it end there too?
See there?
The Nightmare Child. Or a Nightmare Child. Except
infected by Crinoid, slightly upgraded by the Cybermen. And look there, Cloister Race following it aimlessly. We might want to take shelter for a moment. We don't want to get caught by a seed pod or end up in the path of one of the wraiths.
every permutation of horror just keeps happening. I wonder if there's something comforting in knowing that. The horrors I saw weren't the worst.
You can't measure horror. You can't count pain. Pain is pain. Horror is horror. What's important is that this narrative isn't the true one.
True enough for these people.
True enough.
It's gone.
The only question is what will take its place.
Cyber weaponry.
Cyberspace and cyber time. A version of history infected by yet another of your greatest enemies.
Is it wrong that when I think of how things are supposed to go, I think first of Donna? Somehow I feel she's connected to all this. Like there was something left between the two of us. Something I had to do? Something I had to say? Or maybe that's just this face. Like the teeth and the hair and the sand shoes, it's all come back to me like a half-forgotten dream turned to a nightmare that we can't wake up from. Perhaps if I had come to a different face, I would have suddenly felt the need to check in on Joe, or Ace, or Mel. Wonder how Mel is doing. Awfully, probably. None of them will be doing well now. No one will be as they should be. History is, well, fragmented. Outside the doors of my ship, I might see anything. New twisted worlds, terrifying monsters from the renewed time war. Impossible things. This whole thing is impossible. A war that should have been long past. A battle that should have been long over. A moment not just prepared for, but finished with. We saved Gallifrey, all of us together, and then it burned. But if I dared poke my head outside the door of my ship, I'd find a war raging that I truly thought we'd finally won. The horde of travesties, the nightmare child, a war turned to hell. And in the middle of that, my friends, suffering for my mistakes, my failures. I'm sorry, Donna. Is this why this face came back? To repair what this face did wrong? I suppose I'll never know now. Yet, there's a part of me that wants to shrink and hide away from it all. To run away from the horror that's out there. I've run my whole life from this day. A day I must have known that was coming. But somehow I don't feel like this story's over yet. Somehow I have a smidge of hope still. Hope's a good emotion. It's the one enduring constant between the moment I left this face behind and the moment I came back to it. Hope springs eternal. Right. Hope it is. Whatever the end game of this mess is, I'd better be ready. Ha! And as I said so long ago, allons-y!
10 million years of absolute power. Corrupted.
Fragments of Gallifreyan history spiraling out of control, colliding and glitching.
This is it, don't you see? The war infecting every fragment of reality like a pathogen. You and Gallifrey were at the eye of the storm, both being affected the most, but differently from everything else.
How?
I'm not sure. Hold on.
Hold on to what? Moment!
It seems like only yesterday in which I was telling people to plan for the future. Looking back in retrospect, rather a preposterous notion, when there is no future, no present or past. Those concepts have no meaning. Perhaps they never did. Perhaps they never will again. Not even a Time Lord can outrun what is already here, what has been here since the very beginning, and is already waiting for us at the end. Perhaps the answer the whole universe is seeking is at the end of a telephone line, eh? No, not this time. Perhaps I didn't care enough to plan out for the future. the future in which we failed. All that time ago, and it feels like yesterday and tomorrow. Time was once everything, and now time is nothing. I find myself rather dependent on what was. Reminiscing about Cambridge during the 1970s, talking about phone lines and wondering what the Doctor must be up to. If there are any left in the universe, we need them more than ever. They must be getting on a bit. Ah, there I go again. Trapped in my past. I often find myself watching the first time I meet the Daleks. Their telepathic projectile. Oh, what a nasty bunch they are. Can't put an end to them, and yet I almost did. Once. Did I make the right call? Oh, never mind. That conversation will spiral for weeks on end. Not that weeks exist. Time really does fly when there is no time at all. Oh, there's no point in me holding you back here for too long. Reminiscing about old times. Times that now never were. You have so much to do. Well, we certainly hope that you do. I certainly hope that I've been of some use. I think I may head out into this conflict, and maybe pick up a few of my old faces. But just the old favorites, eh? I've had so many faces, it's difficult to keep track. Not that the face you wear matters. It's the heart within that defines who you are, and I should know. I have too. I still have hope in this universe. Still have faith in it. And myself. Ourselves. Perhaps there is still time to prepare for the future. Perhaps there is a future for us all after all, eh? Maybe. Who knows, eh? Perhaps Gallifrey won't fall, eh? Who knows?